The effects of globalization on Oceania.
Oceania is a primarily oceanic region. It has more water than it does land, and it is the collective name for the nearly 25,000 islands of the Pacific, including Australia. The region has a 70.8% urban population, but Australia and New Zealand, the most urbanized nations, have 87.9% urban populations. The total urban population within the region is 23 million people, and the top three cities of the region, Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, are all located in Australia.
The effects of globalization on Oceania. Globalization is essentially the integration of international markets. And this comes about because of the improvement of technology that makes transportation and communication between different parts of the world easier, and also from economic agreements like free trade initiatives. We will analyze the environmental, political, sociocultural, and economic situations in Oceania through the lens of the SWOT model. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Environmental. Some of the environmental strengths of the region of Oceania include the fact that it is distant from a lot of the highly industrialized areas that contribute to pollution, such as North America, India, Southeast Asia, and Europe. And as a result of this, many of the islands still remain in a pristine state with white sand beaches and no buildings on them. However, some of the weaknesses are that these ecosystems that the islands are made of, such as coral reefs, are very fragile to threats, and they also have a vulnerable freshwater supply. As more and more people draw water, the saltwater begins to infiltrate.
Opportunities. Ecotourism is becoming an increasing trend in Oceania. It preserves the natural environment, but also brings money to the region through tourism, which is a direct result of globalization. Desalination plants are also increasingly being built in the region to protect the freshwater supplies. Threats include global climate change, another direct result of globalization, which can also result in more saltwater intrusion due to the increase in sea level. Other threats include overfishing, deforestation, and pollution. Sociocultural. A couple of the strengths of Oceania are, number one, that it has an extremely diverse population. While Oceania only represents 0.1% of the world's population, over 1/3 of the world's languages are spoken in Oceania. Immigration is always constantly bringing in new cultural influences. Some weaknesses are related to deep-rooted traditions that sometimes contradict with globalization that are present in many communities in Oceania. And these include the communal control of resources and the fact that many small islands continue to remain autonomous. Opportunities are cultural tourism, and this is also related to preservation of culture, which is becoming more prevalent in Oceania. The threats are mostly centered around the weaknesses that we talked about. Those deep-rooted traditions can sometimes leave a small island nation that decides to remain autonomous and continue some ancient practices left behind by the rest of the global market.
Economy. The majority of workers in Oceania work in service industries, including tourism, education, and financial services. Fiji alone receives over 500,000 tourists annually, and it is only one small island. While the economies of Australia and New Zealand are primarily service-oriented, many workers on the Pacific Islands work in fishing and agriculture. The main produce of these islands is coconut. Other produce includes timber, beef, palm oil, cocoa, beef, and sugar, as well as fish. The manufacturing of clothing has been important on some Pacific Islands in the past, but currently this sector is decreasing. Strengths related to the economy. Australia, New Zealand, and some of the islands in the Pacific already have strong connections to the developed world. These developed nations can help aid Oceania as it becomes globalized. Also, they have many natural resources that they can export, such as timber and minerals that are mined. And while agriculture and fishing account for only 5 to 10% of the jobs, they contribute substantially to the region's export performance. Some weaknesses are that there are many different currencies used throughout the region, just like there are many different languages. This makes the movement of capital a little bit more difficult. Also, the geography of the region makes it difficult for Oceania to act as a cohesive economy because it is impossible for there to be commuter jobs where people would have to travel from island to island with the current transportation methods. Opportunities. The export of natural resources is a great opportunity for Oceania. This is already occurring and has the potential to keep growing as Oceania becomes more globalized. The shipment of fresh seafood and other produce is already occurring as well, but also can grow. There's a strong market for tourism in Oceania with all of its pristine beaches and islands. Since 1995, Fiji has received over $1 billion for its economy from tourism from Australia alone. And that tourism from Australia only accounted for 30% of the total tourism. Some of the threats are that there is a possibility for the inequitable development of islands in which some of the islands that are more suitable or more favored for foreign profit and foreign capital are going to globalize faster and more successfully than some of the other islands. Furthermore, agricultural jobs may be at risk as the economy shifts towards the service sector, something that comes along with globalization. The encroachment of other countries such as Japan on the fishing waters of Oceania is also something that must be considered.
Politics. So some of the strengths that Oceania has with respect to politics are many of the countries have strong international ties, such as Australia and New Zealand, which retain strong ties with the United States, and many of the small island countries to the east that maintain strong ties with European powers. Some of the weaknesses are that many of these smaller nations in Oceania lack international influence. They also have a very dispersed population, which makes it hard to consolidate power politically. Along with that dispersion in population comes very diverse ideology, which again make political consolidation difficult. Some opportunities, though, are that Oceania has room to mature politically. A lot of these countries' political systems are very new, and they still have time to grow and mature in the international community. Also, there's still room for one of the larger nations in Oceania to rise as a political pole of power and consolidate power for the region. A couple of threats are ethnic conflict, which has increased especially in Australia, partially due to increased immigration from foreign countries. And also, some of the smaller nations in Oceania are very prone to be exploited by superpowers because of their relatively small size. Well, that's it for our presentation, and thanks for listening. Good luck on the quiz.